What's up, Broncos Country? Get your hearts ready, because what I'm about to say here is going to hit every fiber of anyone who bleeds orange and blue. Week 16 is knocking at the door, and our Broncos have a matchup that could define absolutely everything on this journey to the playoffs. Are you ready for what's coming? Because I guarantee you, what's at stake this Sunday goes way beyond just another win on the regular season calendar. We're talking about the future. We're talking about destiny. We're talking about proving to the entire world that Denver is back and here's to stay. So buckle up, because this video is going to get you pumped in a way that'll make you want to watch this game 1,000 times. Look at the situation, Denver Broncos family. Our team is sitting at 8 wins and 5 losses, holding the 7th position in the AFC. Seems comfortable? It might seem that way. But the reality is that every game now is a final. Every snap, every tackle, every third down conversion could be the difference between being in or out of the postseason. And on Sunday, down in Jacksonville, against the Jaguars, the pressure is at maximum. The Jaguars have 3 wins and 11 losses, so on paper it looks easy, right? But anyone who really follows football knows that any NFL team can surprise you on any given Sunday, especially when you're playing on the road, in their territory, with the opposing crowd wanting to see blood. Now let's get serious here, Broncos Country. Is our offense working? Yes, it is. Bo Nix, our rookie quarterback, is showing up game after game. The kid came in being questioned. People doubted him. People said he wasn't ready for the NFL. But look at what he's doing. Week after week, Bo is growing. He's learning. He's commanding that offense with a maturity that few rookie quarterbacks can have. And that's not all. The guy is distributing the ball, he's finding the receivers, he's getting the tight ends involved, he's using the running backs in the passing game. It's a balanced offense. It's an offense that's working. But let's take it easy, because it's not all roses. The offensive line needs to protect better. There were games where Bo took too much pressure, games where the pocket collapsed too quickly, and against Jacksonville, this could be a problem. Why? Because the Jaguars have guys who know how to get to the quarterback. They might not have the best record, but their defensive line has pieces that can cause damage. So our offensive line needs to be on point. Needs to give Bo time to read the defense, needs to open holes for the running game to work. Because if we can balance pass and run, if we can control the clock, if we can keep their defense tired on the field, then yes, family, then we're going to dominate this game. And speaking of the running game, let's talk about our running backs. The Broncos' backfield has been efficient, has been productive. We have runners who know how to find the holes, who know how to gain tough yards, who know how to convert short third downs. And against Jacksonville, this is going to be fundamental. Why? Because if we can establish the running game early, if we can make them respect our ground game, that's going to open everything up for Bo in the passing game. Play action will work better. Intermediate routes will be open. Receivers will have more space to work. It's simple football mathematics, Broncos Country. You dominate the line of scrimmage, you dominate the game. But hey, before continuing, if you're real Broncos Country, if you're with me on this journey, if you want to follow every play, every analysis, every prediction of our Broncos, then go ahead right now and subscribe to the channel. Hit that red button, turn on the notification bell, because this is the place for the Denver Broncos family. Here we live and breathe orange and blue. And it doesn't stop there. Drop that like down below. Comment what you're thinking. Share with that friend of yours who's also passionate about the Broncos. Let's make this family grow. Let's show that Broncos Country is alive and stronger than ever. Now let's go to the other side of the ball, family. Let's talk about our defense. And man, what a defense, huh? This defensive unit of the Broncos has been the heart of the team this season. Week after week, these guys are stopping offenses, they're making turnovers, they're putting pressure on opposing quarterbacks. The defensive line is dominating, the linebackers are showing up in the right places, the secondary is covering well. It's a complete defense, it's a defense that inspires confidence. And against Jacksonville, they're going to have important work ahead. The Jaguars have Trevor Lawrence at the helm, and look, no matter what his team's record is, Trevor Lawrence is a high-level player. The guy has an arm, has mobility, knows how to read defenses, knows how to make difficult throws. So our defense can't underestimate. Can't think that just because Jacksonville has 3 wins, it's going to be easy. On the contrary, we need to be at our best, need to be attentive to every formation, every tendency of theirs. Our edge rushers need to get to him, need to collapse the pocket, need to make him make rushed decisions. And if we can do that, if we can take Trevor Lawrence out of his rhythm, then we're going to dominate this game defensively. And there's more Broncos Country. The secondary needs to be sharp. Jacksonville has receivers who can do damage if they have space. So our cornerbacks need to be glued in coverage. Our safeties need to be alert to help over the top, to not let those explosive plays happen. Because in football, one explosive play changes everything. A 50-yard touchdown pass can flip a game upside down, so we can't allow it. We need to keep everything in front, need to force them to earn yards the hard way, drive after drive. And if we do that, if we force them to be perfect on every possession, eventually they'll make a mistake. And when they do, we need to capitalize. Speaking of capitalizing, let's talk about turnover differential. This is one of the most important factors in modern football. The team that wins the turnover battle usually wins the game, and our Broncos have been good at this. The defense is creating opportunities, forcing fumbles, making interceptions, and the offense is taking care of the ball, avoiding silly mistakes. Against Jacksonville, this needs to continue. We need to protect the ball like it's gold. Bo Nix can't force throws, running backs can't get sloppy with ball protection, receivers can't let the ball bounce off their chest. Every possession is precious, family, and if we can win this turnover battle, if we can create more opportunities for our offense than we give to theirs, we win this game easily. Now, let me talk about an aspect that many people forget, but is fundamental. Special teams. Field position is crucial in football, and our special teams need to be on point in Jacksonville. Punt coverage needs to be perfect. Can't give up those long returns that put the opposing offense in favorable field position. Kick coverage also needs to be solid. And in the return game, we need to be smart. If there's an opportunity to gain yards, go for it. But if not, fair catch and move forward. Can't have those silly fumbles that hand the game over on a silver platter. Special teams might not be the most glamorous part of the game, but they can be the difference between victory and defeat. And look, Broncos Country, let's talk about the game environment. We're going to be playing in Jacksonville, away from home, away from our crowd, away from that energy we feel at Empower Field. Playing on the road is always harder. The team has to deal with travel, with time zone changes, with the opposing crowd making noise. But you know what separates good teams from mediocre teams? Good teams know how to win on the road. Good teams don't let the environment intimidate them. Good teams go there, do their job, and come back home with the victory. And that's what we expect from our Broncos, that they arrive in Jacksonville focused, prepared, ready to impose their game. So what's the prediction, family? Look, I'll be honest with you. This game is winnable. Jacksonville isn't doing well this season. They have problems in several areas. They're trying to build something but haven't been able to put the pieces together yet. But football is football. Any team can win on any given Sunday, so we can't underestimate. Can't think that just showing up on the field means we win. We need to execute, need to play all 4 quarters, need to maintain intensity from the first to the last snap. Because if we slip up, if we relax, Jacksonville can make us pay dearly. My prediction? I believe in our Broncos. I believe in Bo Nix commanding that offense with intelligence and efficiency. I believe in our running backs finding the holes and gaining important yards. I believe in our receivers making catches when the ball comes. I believe in our offensive line protecting the quarterback and opening paths in the running game. And defensively, I believe we're going to dominate. I believe we're going to pressure Trevor Lawrence the entire game. I believe we're going to cover well, that we're going to stop their running game, that we're going to force long third down situations. And when that happens, when we put them in unfavorable situations, that's when we're going to dominate. I'm seeing the Broncos winning by 2 touchdowns, something around 27-13, 24-10, around there. It won't be a blowout, but it'll be a consistent victory, a victory that shows we're in control, that we're executing the game plan, that we're ready for the playoffs. Because that's what it's about, family. Every win now brings us closer to the postseason. Every win strengthens the team's confidence. Every win shows that Denver is back where it always belonged, among the best in the NFL. But hey, it's not just about the statistics, it's not just about the numbers. It's about that grit, that determination, that never-give-up spirit that made the Broncos a legendary franchise. It's about honoring those who came before, those who built this winning tradition. It's about showing every fan who wakes up early on a Sunday, who wears the orange and blue jersey, who screams until they're hoarse, that we're doing this for them, for you, for all of Broncos Country. And you know what else makes this game exciting? It's that we're in a phase of the season where every game matters too much. There's no more room for error. There's no longer that luxury of thinking you can lose one here, recover another there. No. Now it's all or nothing. Now it's win or watch your playoff chances slip through your fingers. And that brings pressure, but it also brings beauty. Because it's in these moments that true competitors show up. It's in these moments that you discover who's really ready for war. Look at our roster, family. We have hungry young players wanting to prove their worth. We have experienced veterans who know what it takes to win. We have a coaching staff that's preparing this team in the best possible way. We have a defense that's among the best in the league. We have an offense that's growing and finding its identity. We have special teams that are doing their job. And above all, we have the best fans in the world. You, Broncos Country. You who are here, who believe, who cheer, who live every play as if you were on the field. Now let's talk about some individual matchups that are going to be crucial in this game. On the defensive line, our edge rushers against Jacksonville's offensive tackles. If we win that battle, if we can consistently win one-on-one, Trevor Lawrence is going to have a very difficult day. He'll be feeling pressure all game. He'll be rushing throws. He'll be taking sacks at crucial moments. And that's going to break the rhythm of their offense. It'll force them to play off script. And when a team plays off script, especially a team that's already struggling, things tend to fall apart. Another important matchup, our cornerbacks against Jacksonville's receivers. They have guys who can make plays, fast guys, guys with good hands, guys who know how to find spaces in zone coverage. So our DBs need to be glued, need to be reading routes, need to be breaking toward the ball, need to be making those pass breakups that kill drives. And if an interception opportunity appears, you have to hold on, have to capitalize, because turnovers change games, family. A turnover at the right moment can be the difference between a comfortable victory and a tight game until the end. On offense, I'll be watching how Bo Nix handles pressure. Jacksonville is going to try to blitz, try to confuse him with different coverages, try to make him make mistakes. But Bo has shown composure. The kid doesn't get rattled easily. He reads well, he adjusts well, he knows when to make the hot read, when to get rid of the ball quickly, when to hold and look for the big play. If he continues at this level, if he continues making smart decisions, our offense will work. We'll move the ball, we'll score, we'll keep their defense on the field until they're tired. And there's a factor that can't be ignored, the clock. Clock control is fundamental in football. If we can maintain long possessions, drives of 10, 12, 14 plays that consume 6-7 minutes of the clock, we're doing two important things. First, we're taking the ball out of the opposing offense's hands. Fewer possessions for them means fewer opportunities to score. Second, we're tiring out their defense. When you're on the field for so long, when you have to defend play after play after play, eventually you break. Holes appear. Coverages fail. And that's when we take advantage. Tell me, Broncos Country, what are you thinking so far? Are you confident for Sunday? Do you think we're going to dominate, or do you think it'll be a tighter game? Because that's the beauty of football, right? Everyone has their view. Everyone sees the game differently. But in the end, we all want the same thing, to see our Broncos with the victory, see that favorable final score, see our team celebrating on the field, see our players leaving that stadium knowing they did the job. And look, I can't fail to mention the importance of this game in the larger context of the season. We're in the home stretch. Just a few weeks left until the end of the regular season, and every result now has enormous weight. A win here not only gives us another W in the column, but can also improve our seeding for the playoffs, can give us a better position, can give us a more favorable path, and in the playoffs, seeding matters. It matters a lot. The difference between being the 6th seed and the 7th seed can be the difference between facing a weaker or stronger team in the first round. It can be the difference between having a home game or having to travel. So yes, this game against Jacksonville, even against a team with a losing record, is absolutely crucial. There's also the psychological aspect. Momentum is real in football. A team that's on a winning streak, that's confident, that's executing well, has a different energy. Players believe more. The coaching staff has more freedom to be creative. Everything flows better. And the Broncos need to grab that momentum and carry it forward. Need to use this victory against Jacksonville as fuel for the home stretch, as confirmation that they're on the right path, as proof that they're capable of doing something special this season. Now let's talk about a specific tactical aspect that can make a difference. We need to win third downs, both offensively and defensively. On offense, if we can convert third downs, we keep drives alive, keep the ball in our hands, keep their defense on the field. And that's exactly what we want. On defense, if we can stop them on third downs, we force punts, we gain field position, we give more opportunities to our offense. Third down is the most important down in football. Win that battle, you have a huge chance of winning the game. And we can't forget about the red zone. Red zone efficiency wins games. How many times do we see a team get close to the end zone but can't score 7? Has to kick a field goal, scores 3, and at the end of the game, those 4 points left on the table matter. The Broncos need to be clinical in the red zone against Jacksonville. Get there, have to score a touchdown, can't settle for a field goal, can't waste opportunities. Bo Nix needs to be precise with throws. Receivers need to make catches. The running game needs to work. And if all that happens, if we're lethal in the red zone, we're going to put numbers on the scoreboard quickly. Defensively in the red zone, the story changes a bit. The field gets smaller for the defense, but it also gets smaller for the offense. There's less space to work with. Routes get shorter. Everything gets more compact, and that's where our defense needs to shine, needs to be physical, needs to win individual battles, needs to make those important stops that force field goals instead of touchdowns. Because in football, forcing field goals when the opponent is in the red zone is almost like making a stop. You're taking 4 potential points off the table. And over the course of a game, that makes all the difference. Another tactical point, the use of play action. If our running game is working, if we've established that ground threat, play action is going to be deadly. Jacksonville's defense will have to respect the run. Linebackers will have to take steps forward. Safeties will have to come close to the line. And that's when Bo Nix can make those deep throws, can catch them sleeping, can find receivers completely alone 30, 40 yards downfield. And these explosive plays. Family, these are the plays that break a defense's spirit. These are the plays that make a team lose heart. Let's also talk about halftime adjustments. Modern football is a game of adjustments. What's working in the first quarter might not work in the third. The opposing defense adapts. They see what you're doing and try to take it away from you. So our coaching staff needs to be prepared, needs to have plans B, C, D, needs to be able to change the game plan in the middle of the game if necessary, and our players need to be able to execute these adjustments. Need to be smart enough to understand what's being asked and disciplined enough to execute perfectly. And look, Denver Broncos family, I can't fail to mention the importance of discipline. Penalties kill drives, kill momentum, kill games. A silly holding call that negates an important first down, a false start on a short third down, a pass interference that gives the opponent an automatic first down. These mistakes can't happen. Our team needs to play clean, needs to play smart, needs to avoid those dumb penalties that make the difference between victory and defeat. And against Jacksonville, especially playing on the road, we can't give them those chances, can't make it easy. Now think with me, Broncos Country. Imagine the scenario. Sunday afternoon, our Broncos entering that field in Jacksonville, the home crowd trying to intimidate, the tense atmosphere, and then, on the first drive, we march down the field. Play after play. First down, another first down. Getting into the red zone. And then, touchdown. Ball in the back of the end zone, 7 points on the scoreboard. How do you think that affects the team? How do you think that affects Jacksonville? It sets the tone. It shows who came to play. It puts pressure on them from the start. And that's exactly what we need to do. Impose our game from the first snap. On the other hand, defensively, forcing a 3-and-out on their first drive would be perfect. Imagine Trevor Lawrence and company taking the field, trying to establish rhythm, and we just don't let them. Stop on first down. Stop on second. Long third down. Pressure on the quarterback. Incomplete pass. Punt. What message does that send? What message does that send our offense too? That the defense is doing its job. That it's giving opportunities. That it's keeping the score favorable. And that energizes everyone. That creates that positive momentum that can carry a team to victory. There's a saying in football that says, offense wins games, defense wins championships. And look, there's a lot of truth to that. We can have the best offense in the world, can score 40 points a game, but if the defense doesn't hold, if the defense doesn't make the important stops, it doesn't matter. On the other hand, a dominant defense can carry a team very far, can compensate for an offense that's having a bad day, can make those turnovers that completely change the game. And our Broncos have that defense, have a unit that can dominate, that can win games by itself if necessary, and against Jacksonville, I expect it to shine. But we can't be one-dimensional, can't depend only on defense. The offense needs to do its part, needs to score, needs to sustain drives, needs to give the defense a break too. Because at the end of the day, football is a complete game. All three phases need to work. Offense, defense, and special teams. When everything is clicking, when all the pieces are falling into place, that's when you have a special team. That's when you have a team capable of making a deep playoff run. And you know what's coolest about all this, family? It's that we're seeing this team grow throughout the season. At the beginning, there were ups and downs. There were games where we wondered if this team had what it takes. But look where we are now. 8 wins, 5 losses, fighting for a playoff spot. Bo Nix maturing every week. The defense consolidating as one of the best in the league. Coaching making smart adjustments. It's a team that's evolving. And teams that evolve throughout the season are dangerous. They're teams you don't want to face in January. So going back to the initial question, what's going to happen Sunday in Jacksonville? I've already given my prediction. Broncos winning by 2 possessions. Something around 24-10, 27-13. But look, football is unpredictable. Anything can happen. That's why we play the game. That's why we put on the helmet, take the field, and decide there, between the 4 lines. But if our team executes, if our team plays with the intensity and discipline we know they're capable of, if our team imposes its will from the first to the last snap, then there's no way. Victory comes. And every win now, family, every win brings us closer to the bigger goal. It's not just about making the playoffs. It's about making noise when we get there. It's about proving that Denver is back, that the franchise that won 3 Super Bowls, that has one of the most passionate fan bases in the NFL, that has a tradition of excellence, is ready to return to the top. And it all starts with games like this. Games you have to win. Games where you can't stumble. Games that build confidence and momentum. Can you imagine Broncos Country? Imagine us getting to the playoffs. Imagine our team that many people doubted at the beginning of the season making a deep run. Imagine Bo Nix leading clutch drives in maximum pressure situations. Imagine our defense making those impossible stops against the best teams in the AFC. Imagine the energy, the emotion, the passion. This is possible, family. This is within our reach. But to get there, we need to win the games we should win, and Jacksonville is one of those games. So what do I expect Sunday? I expect to see a focused team, a hungry team, a team that knows what's at stake. I expect to see Bo Nix commanding that offense with authority. I expect to see our running backs running with violence. I expect to see our receivers making contested catches. I expect to see our offensive line dominating physically, and defensively, I expect to see constant pressure. I expect to see tight coverage. I expect to see violent tackles. I expect to see a team that won't let Jacksonville breathe, that will suffocate them for 4 complete quarters. And in the end, when the clock hits 0, when that last second runs out, I expect to see our Broncos celebrating. Celebrating another victory. Celebrating another step toward the playoffs. Celebrating because they did their job, because they honored the orange and blue jersey, because they represented Broncos Country in the best possible way. So, Denver Broncos family, we've reached the end of this script, but the journey is just beginning. What do you think? Do you agree with my prediction? Do you think we're going to dominate, or that it'll be tighter? Are you confident in our defense? Do you believe Bo Nix will have a big game? I want to know your opinion. Comment down below. Let's debate. Let's exchange ideas, because that's what makes Broncos Country so special. The passion, the engagement, the way we live each game as if it were the most important of our lives. So don't forget, drop that like down there if you enjoyed the content. Share with your friends who are also crazy about the Broncos. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe now, turn on the notification bell, because this is the home of Broncos Country on YouTube. Here we analyze, debate, cheer, and celebrate together. And you can be sure that on Sunday, we'll all be united, all cheering, all celebrating every play of our Broncos. Let's go all out, family. Sunday is Victory Day. Sunday is the day to show that Denver is ready, that we're back, that we're here to stay. Broncos Country. Until the next video, and may our team bring this victory home.